had my cup of tea, and then I got super triggered by a Reddit user. I'm sorry it's called Symbols Where You Live. I am literally just trying to help you. Oh, God, I could cry. Look, guys, we're all on the same team. We're all animators and we're all just trying to make nice pictures move. We can do everything we want everywhere. We are so lucky. It's just learning some new words. Okay, that is my Danny speech over. I might edit that out. Oh, it is very tiresome though. Okay, have my rough. And I'm going to do my clean and colour in one pass. Now, so far I've spent an hour on this and I have talked through it, and I've never animated this morph before, and I've never animated a morph before actually. So it's taken maybe slightly longer. I don't know if that's interesting to you, like how long it takes. It's not interesting to me. But just in case you were like, I saw a comment on LinkedIn that was like, where can you go to make fast animation now? And the guy posted something really fun that he'd made in 20 minutes. So I remade it in Moho in 20 minutes because I'm a little asshole. But it's okay because we're friends and it was cool and we chatted about it and I sent him my file. Just to show that like you don't have to spend a long time on anything. So if it is interesting to you, I've spent about an hour on this so far. Like absolutely round that up though. I bet it's about 40 minutes over the hour of proper work. Most of it is faffing with recording stuff. It's hard. So now I want to make a new layer on top of my rough, I think. A new frame by frame layer. Like I said, I've not done this before. I'm winging this frame by frame. I'm going to call this clean. And to help me, I want to choose some colours ahead of time. I don't have to do this, but there is like a nice hacky tool called the select shape tool, and you can eyedrop colours from one shape to another. So as long as you've made a shape with the fill, you can colour it so easily. I know I spent a long time slagging off the paint bucket before, but this will hopefully give you that workflow. But what we have to do then is set up some colours first. So I'm just going to make a tiny palette off screen. So I've just Control J'd. My render view is gone now. So now I can see everything. And over here, I'm just going to make a palette. If I just right click, drag, and make myself some space here over on my canvas. And I'm going to use my select shape tool for the first time. We haven't used this yet, but I use this all the time as a rigger. When I'm making a character, I normally start with a closed shape. So it's got all the parameters I need for later. And that is a top tip. I'm just going to choose the circle up here on the toolbar, the option bar at the top, and I can now make like a bunch of circles. I've got a pink loaded in there and it's got that line that I had for my rough. What I want to do is I want to remove that line now, because now we're on clean. We want to have like a black line. I think I will want it black. So what I can do with this selected, and I've got my style window over here, I'm just going to click in here and I'm going to uncheck tint brush with stroke color for this one in particular. It just gives like a handy... Will that change my rough? I don't think so. No, cool. That was already coloured. So from now on, it's not going to adopt the colour I have selected in my stroke window. Now I've made this shape and I changed this. And you might be wondering, why did it not change over there, Danny? And it's because I don't have the shape selected. In Moho, active selections are super important. They are critically important, in fact. 100% of my troubleshooting life, in studio, in Teams, of like online, on YouTube, everywhere, when someone asks me a question, I will ask them like, what have you got selected and where have you got it selected? So if you haven't got something selected, like we talked about that dynamic nature of Moho, you might not see the tool that you need. So then you might be like, why is my tool not available? Well, because you haven't got the thing selected that you need. That's what I mean by active selections being super important. So I want to select this shape, and to do that I have to select the select shape tool, which is here in my fill tools, and the shortcut is Q. I use that constantly. So I'm going to press Q, I'm going to select my shape with that tool, and now you can see here, this is the style parameters that are associated with that shape. So I have to actually uncheck it here too. Ta-da! Sorted. Now I have a fleshy pink colour with a black line. I think that's going to be the majority of the palette for this. I want that like I think I'm going to do the pencil like it's made of flesh and blood as well, and I think I'm going to do the start as if it's made of flesh and blood, and yes, I do think I will be adding veins. I'm just that kind of girl, okay? Cool. So now we've done that, I want to go back to my select shape tool, I want to draw another circle, I want to give it another colour. I could have just copy pasted, to be honest. I have to line these up. Oh, I'm a psycho. Q to select the shape, and then I'm going to drag here, like maybe we want a lighter colour, something like that. And then using the select points tool, I can actually Control C, Control V, and just select that over. Q to select it, and then maybe we want like a purple. Ew. Right? And then maybe we need like a light colour for the veins as well. So this is going to be for a vein, obviously. Control C, Control V. Let's move this under here. It does not matter. This is not going to be rendered. It doesn't have to be neat. So maybe, oh god, I'm making myself sick. Maybe like this. I actually can't leave it not neat, so let's make it neat. G for grab, T for transform. There we go. They're not all the same. I should have duplicated. Okay, cool. So maybe that's my colours. Cool. So now I have those there. When I am doing my frame by frame layer, I can grab those very easily using Control click. That's why I do that. Now we might not need the line. We'll decide that on a shape by shape basis. Okay, so maybe I might want my rough on top. Because drawing over this is going to be a bit of a ball ache. So I'm going to drag my rough to the top of the stack. And I'm going to do something where it means I can't select it. We can't lock something in Moho, which sucks. I agree with you. Sometimes I would change Moho too, okay? We can't lock it, but we can make sure it's never going to be selected. And to do that, there's multiple ways of doing it. We can right click and come to quick settings and check ignored by layer selector. Long way of saying can't select, but there we go. We can also double click and come here and tick this box too. So there's always multiple ways of doing the exact same thing. I really like the layer options dialog box because if you open that to make one little change, the chances are you'll eyeball something and you'll be like, oh, you can change opacity here too. Ah, that's what she said. Great. Okay, cool. I've done the thing I wanted. Oh, I saw that you can don't render too. Like, there's other options in there that you might catch by eye when you open that up. So always double click on your layer and just have a shop around. You might find something cool. Okay, so if you remember my system, the red frames are my keyframes. And I'll start there. I am going to do exactly the same things I did for the rough pass, but I am going to do them for my clean pass. Now you will notice that you cannot see the rough timings. There we are, we've got the thingies there, the keyframes there, but when I click on clean, they're not there, which is annoying, I agree with you. There is a script that someone wrote that will generate them, empty keyframes of the same, not intensity, what's the word? The same interpolation. They will generate empty keyframes on your frame by frame layer. I don't have that script. I have trauma with scripts, working in studios and sometimes not being allowed to install third-party scripts, so I have only just tentatively started using scripts. They are amazing, but I don't know that one. But there is something out there. However, what I would do, and I will always show you my workaround, is when we have selected a layer here and we've got some options, this little symbol here that looks like a stopwatch indicates that you can click here and it will always show in the timeline. That's what that means. If I hover over that, does it tell you? No, it's bloody annoying. So I click this, and then when I click my clean, it remains there in my timeline. So I can have multiple layers shown in my timeline at any time. We just have to remember that we're working on the clean one. I am just using it as visual reference, so I know that my keyframe is here. Okay, so I've got to make this pencil. I've got to make it meaty. Yay! I'm going to use my freehand tool again, but I'm going to enable some more options here. So when I was drawing my rough, I only had auto stroke enabled. Now I might want auto fill as well, because if I select one of these, I want a line and a colour. You get me? So it will auto fill as we go. This is what I mean about being able to do your cleanup and colour at the same time. Also, multi-stroke fill is very handy. What that means is if I just make a new frame here, it means like you can see here now how it's colouring as I go, but if I let go, whoops, but I can carry on. Oh, yay. Oh, I can carry on. Yay, yay. And boom, nailed it. So it just means that multi-stroke fill means you can add to it as you go. Right. Should probably start. No, let's start at the start. So if I make this here, I've got a new frame on frame 1, and I'm going to make, oh, crumbs. So instead of pressing new frame, I have these here on my layer, but it's like almost like an object on my frame by frame layer. I don't want that to disappear. I want to take it with me. I can copy paste anything from one frame to another. So if you find you've lost it, don't panic. But just for now, because there's nothing else on my layer and I want it, I'm just going to duplicate my layer instead. Duplicate my frame. So if I click duplicate frame, it creates a new frame. There's nothing here on my canvas anyway, but it has brought my palette with me, if that makes sense. The colours have to be on the same layer for you to be able to use this like eyedropper hack on the select shape tool. You'll see what I mean as we go forward. So, freehand. Let's start. Start at the start. So I'm going to start drawing and fill in my start. And immediately I feel like, whoops, that's the last colour I had selected. So it's not the one I want. So this is perfect for me to show you that what I actually want is this dark pink. So if I choose the select shape tool again, press Q, and then if I control click on here, it will turn my shape that colour. So if you select the shape and then control click the colour. If I control click this one, it'd be that. If I control click this one, there we go. But that's the one I want, okay? Cool, back to my freehand tool. I don't know about you, but having this like grey line over the top, super annoying. It's ruining my vibe. So what I can do actually, I can double click here. I can put the opacity down to 30, 25, 30, something like that. And I can colorize it so it's like blacker. We kind of need to see it, but don't need to see it. Does colorize make much difference? Yeah, I'm going to colorize it. Okay, so I've colorized it and made it a much lower opacity. And so now we can just see what we're doing a bit more. We have a bit of a pickle here with this A. It's not a pickle, but I can show you something. Oh, wrong layer. Okay, clean. It's not a pickle, but there's just something to think about. There is a hole in this shape. So I am going to make this shape. So it is a closed shape and it is full. But how do I make a hole? So if I'm going to start another shape here, obviously it's going to be a full shape. So what I need to do is I need to use Moho's liquid shapes. I could rub out, I could use the eraser. I could use the eraser to make a hole in that A, but it's a good excuse to show you liquid shapes anyway. It's on the select shape tool again, so Q is the shortcut. If I select that little shape now, we have some options up here on the option bar that will add an extra property to this shape, and we want subtract. So if I click subtract, it then subtracts it from that hole. If I then picked up the vectors, you can see what's happening there. It's just cutting away from the shape that it was drawn on top of. F for back to my freehand tool, and I'm going to carry on. Cool. Ta-da! Okay, so if I press start now, that is boiling. Cool. There we go. Just checking, and then keyframe 2, if you remember, is this one, which is the heart. That's going to be a bit more complex, so let's go there next. So I'm going to duplicate the frame just so I can bring this with me, but then I know I do not want this. So I'm just going to select using the select points tool. It's a vector object, remember. Delete them out of space and time. Just on this frame, look. So it's just on this frame. I could have also used the eraser. It's just so I can bring my colours with me, okay? Okay, so let's do this heart. going to go out the outline, knowing that this fill is chasing my pen nib. I'm going to make the biggest shape first. Now we can make changes to this if we want to, or you could draw it however you need to draw it based on whatever it is that you're working on. This is just because I have been using it for a long time, so I kind of know what I want. Now I know I definitely want lots of interior lines here, so I'm just going to deselect that, and I'm going to turn autofill off. I have to turn multi-stroke fill off first, and then I turn autofill off. Now I just want the black line. So I'm just going to match some of these up. I don't want fills everywhere. And now I can have broken line if I want to. Like this. And I do have some settings enabled on my freehand options. So I'm using a pen. I have some settings up here that you can have a look at. Just to give like hand-drawn look. Play with those to your heart's content, I say. And obviously my line boil settings are affecting the blobbiness of my line, which I am very happy about. The more pressure I apply with my pen, the more line I'm getting. This is getting a little bit abstract now. I haven't got a clue what an actual heart looks like. Definitely have this sort of a valvey thing, weren't there? And then this was like a whole ass hole, like that. I mean, I could look at my reference, but like, artistic license. There we go. I love it. Could colour the purple. Could colour the purple here now. What does a heart look like? Where would the purple be? This looks like a ball sack. I'm in love with it. Right, okay. Never mind. Shh. Could do purples. Let's move on though. So now I want a new one, but for my pencil. So I'm going to duplicate this frame again, so I can keep my palette. Remember, I'll do something different this time, just so you know you can do both. I'll just select the eraser, ramp the size of that up, and then just yeet that off my frame. There we go. So I've got my palette, but nothing here. And then I come back to my frame, my freehand brush tool, and I'm going to set autofill and multi-stroke fill just in case. And then I can start drawing my pencil. I'm going to take some license there. Cool. That's a bit shitty. Okay. Just want to fill this out a little bit. I'm just using the magnet tool, which is X on my keyboard. There we go. And shift and right click to zoom out. And F to go back to my freehand tool. And now again, I can turn off multi-stroke fill and give myself some lines to play with. I'm just going to zoom in here. It's not a very accurate pencil, but that's okay. I'm not a very accurate guy. Cool. And then maybe... There we go. So maybe this is an excellent opportunity to actually make some new colours. So we have a rubber here, obviously, but it's obviously a meaty rubber. It doesn't really exist as an actual rubber, but we have this like light pink here, which I think will be perfect. So what I need to do is I'm going to draw over this and then colour it in again, if that makes sense. So if I enable multi-stroke fill, so I am back to filling something up, I'm just going to draw a new shape here. New shape here, like so, and then using my Q tool, I'm going to control click on that, and I've got my meaty eraser. I'll never look at them as not as meat ever again. Okay, and then maybe we could have some colour here, some purple. So what I could do, I don't want more line. Maybe I want like some shade, like using it like shading, but so it will be under this black line. But we can deal with the order of how it's drawn later. So what I can do, I'll use my freehand tool. I'm going to turn auto stroke off, and then I'm going to, if I just do a shape for you like this, like something like that, and then if I control click on my purple, it will turn that purple, and I'm thinking about using that over here as like some shading. But can you see that, like, if I've drawn it last, it means it's on top of the stack, so the entire layer does also have a hierarchy on it that we can't really visually see. But using the select shape tool, Q, we can press up and down on the arrow, on your arrows, sorry. Now that I've got that selected and I've got it where I want it in the stack, what I am going to do is I'm going to grab the magnet tool, but I'm going to use selected points only on my magnet tool, and I'm just going to pull that over here. So I can have like a meaty, some meaty colouring. Gross, but perfect. Alt click to change the size of that. Like, it's not perfect, but like, it doesn't matter if it's not perfect. I feel like not perfect is better, right? Do I hate it? No, I don't hate it. Do I love it? No. But we are where we are. Right, so the very last frame we know we've already done, so we've done here, so we can copy this one, select it, Control C, and then over here where my play aid is, Control V, start at the start. Cool, so now we're just working on in-betweens and breakdowns as per. We can do shading on the way, we can do colouring on the way, we're nearly finished, basically. It's so easy. From now on, we are literally just following the plan that we made on our rough. It's so perfect. So if I start at my breakdowns, I know which they are because I coloured them orange like I always do. This should be a nice half hour of just chill, listen to true crime podcast, colouring and cleaning as I go. So I will see you there. I will probably speed this up. I'm going to remind you though, just before I do fuck off and speed this up, to duplicate the frame so that you've got your palette with you, and then you can eraser tool whatever's already on there. I know that seems like an extra step that most softwares don't have, but it is handier to have that palette with you than it is to constantly be picking over here and not remember which colour you did. Of course I could make a swatch, of course I could, but you can't control click from that. I don't believe you can, actually. Let me just test that. So if I auto stroke, multi stroke fill, blah 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 blah. Here we go. Select shape tool, control click. No, you can't control click from the palette. So there you go. Proof. You can only control click from an object on the same layer. So that is why we do that. It's nice. Okay, freehand. Okay, I'm going in. Love you, bye. Cool. Okay. Done. I've left options there in the colour palette for me to maybe do some extras on top, so it doesn't really matter if these are not planned. My cleanup is done, my colour is done. I can add some stuff on the top. I'm thinking some veins, obviously. And I will just straight ahead those. I'll just track those through frame by frame right from the start, and then just copy that starting frame back to the end, and then I've got my loop. Not much to add really, apart from I will use a veiny purple and a purple highlight. I don't know where yet. I actually might start at the heart. This is a good little contender. And that does animate a little bit and disappear, so I'll have to figure that out. It's only a few frames though, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames. Tops. So let's start there. I could do this on a layer above if I wanted to be non-destructive, but I'm not a perfectionist. I told you I'm an underthinker. So here we go. I'm just going to select my shape so it's purple's loaded in, and then I'm going to go back to my freehand tool and just have fun with it, as a client would say. I might turn stroke off. Mightn't I? Might. Let me change my mind later if I want to. So if I give this a purple bill, make it a little bit wiggly, and then using this select shape tool, press Q, select the shape, and press the down arrows until you're happy with where it is in the stack. It's quite a lot of things on this. So many things. There we go. So now it's beneath the black line there. Select shape on this one. A fast way of doing it, or faster, if you're pressing like down or up quite a lot, is just press shift down, send it right to the bottom, and then up. 1, 2, 3. There we go. So that's a bit easier. Still a bit silly, but like, we are where we are. I might add a little purple sheen to this ball sack. Whoop! It's my show, and I can do what I want. So maybe I'll draw it first. Cool. But I want to control click this bad boy. Q, control click. Oh, gross. No, no, yeah. Yeah? Yeah. Cool, there we go. And then I gotta track that through. So I want to keep it simple because I don't want to go I don't want work. This is supposed to be fun. So there we go. Yeah. Oh, it disappears there, look. Maybe I'll just put something there so that the eye doesn't lose it. Cool. And then the thick purple one, I control select shape with that to load that in there, and then I'm ready to go for the next frame. Freehand tool. And maybe I don't want it too solid. Doesn't matter, it's my party. Doesn't need to make sense at this stage. I mean, none of this makes sense. See what I'm saying? None of this makes sense. It could drip. Oh god, it could drip. These drips are shit. Are they shit? Like that one disappears. I'm just going to magnet tool that down. And then there's 2 new ones there from where they were. But they don't drop. That's the problem. Right. Great. Needs to be lower. 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 I mean, that makes more physical sense. Okay, great. And then maybe I'll have some purple appear here. Ta-da! Purple. Okay. I fucking love it. Okay, cool. So it's got to disappear here. more than that. Zoom in a bit, give myself a fighting chance. Right, I need to decide what start's doing. Go back to the start. Maybe it can be like super 90s bubble. Bubble. Sort of. And then just straight ahead make sure that tracks through. It can disappear and reappear, we don't care. Told you. Under think. This can be coming back in here for the here we are. Yes, totally works out, even though like ew, no. Escape in between selections actually. If you finish the shape and you're using multi-stroke tool, it can be a bit annoying when you still have the last shape selected and it keeps joining to that old one, but you've moved on with your life. So just press escape to deselect everything that is across Moho. Cool, and then I need that light purple again, so I'm going to Q select that, go back and F some shapes in there, and then maybe right, obviously I need to not forget about that. I'm going to copy paste my first frame to my last frame and work backwards. So I know it's S, A and T that I need to grab that colour, S, A and T. See? Escape. I feel like I want one more in between there. Oh, that's so much work. Do I care? No, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to turn my rough off and then I'm going to call that done. I will need to give it some sort of background. I did not plan for that. Maybe I'll do a horrible purple background. Just noticed there I've still got GPU caching on. Moho does a lot of calculations for you to keep your scene file running very fast. I often have a million layers and a million files open at the same time. Also, I've just noticed my toxic trait is I never save. Oh my god, I've never had Moho crash. I've become so safe in that I keep forgetting to save. Often end of the day I'm like, crap, I haven't saved. So just turn GPU caching off if you want to see everything crystal clear, sharp as a tack. There you go, GPU caching in the display. I often have that off. So I might do a purple background. So I'm just going to, on my vector layer that I had left over, nothing's on here, remember, it's a spare. I'm going to choose the select shape, the draw shape tool, sorry, S is the shortcut. Select the square and then I'm going to click drag and cover my canvas. So then I have the purple. Oh, I love it. Okay. Oh, I just thought of something else we could do. I wasn't planning on this, but like with the heart, I was thinking, of course, it's a heart, so maybe it should beat. Maybe there should be like a sort of lub-dub sort of timing happening, something a bit extra. Now we've got the frame by frame layer and that's everything is animated and you think that might be really hard, but we can also animate this layer in any way we want. It is an object in Moho. We can use the animate layer tool to add extra movement if we need to. So I could scale, move and rotate this layer now even though it's already animated, which I think is awesome. So we have the transform layer tool here. M is the shortcut. I use it all the time. The origin point is right in the middle of the canvas, and I drew in the middle, so that's really helpful. However, now we have that palette, which has just ruined my plan. It's okay as long as that doesn't come in there. Maybe we would have to go through every single frame and delete it, which is a job. So one thing that saves you time will add you time somewhere else sometimes. I don't think that's exclusive to Moho, but it is something to think about. It's there. We could delete it off every frame if we wanted to, but let's just see how far we get. So the heart appears here, and the origin is here, and maybe we want a keyframe here, so this is fine, we like it. So to key this, using the transform layer widget, we can see we've got 3 tools in one here. I don't know if you can see my cursor is rotate here if I hover over the perimeter. If I hover over one of these circles, it's scaling, and then if I hover in the middle, the widget tends to transform. So I can move it, rotate it, scale it. See what I'm saying? So if we click in the scale, Moho will auto key that. So we've scaled it here. It's at 100%, 100%, 100%, which is perfect. And then maybe we scale it up and then scale it back down. So we can copy paste any keys on the timeline as well. They are also objects. Now let's drag those right out because it would expand and then whoop. Now I've noticed something I hate, and I hate singles. So Moho, when you default open up Moho, if it's like a brand new shell of Moho, unfortunately the default is 1. Singles, not unfortunately, if you work on singles you do you, but I like 2s, so I'm going to change my defaults here. When it's grey it's default, but if I select these keys it's telling me these selected ones, they're red, this is red, that's the clue. That's set to 1s, and I'm just going to change that to 2s so that I don't have that like really digital movement. So it's okay, but what I'm going to do is set this as an ease out key, and then this can be an ease out key. Okay, well I hate that, but it's okay. I'm just showing you that there's like layers and layers and layers of animation that you could do. I think I'm going to mess with that for the final when I set that to the quick draw event in the loop. Yay. It's not bad. It was a fun day, to be honest, like a fun way to spend the day, and I hope you maybe feel a little bit like less intimidated by Moho's frame by frame tools. They are not complicated. That is both a fault or a pro, depending on what seat you're in. I think it's a pro. Not much can go wrong. I'm sure it could be a smoother process, but I just wanted to show you that you can just draw in Moho and do whatever you want. It is doable. The clean and colour process is really nice. I find that very rewarding and very, very fast. It's you lose the time in the rough, but of course you do. You do that in any software, in any process. The rough is the thing that's going to take all the planning, all the time, all the notes, all the retake, and then when you clean it, everyone's ready to go. It's really, really fast. So this didn't take too long. I hope it wasn't really boring. I hope you are excited by Moho. If you are new to Moho, if you've come here from Flash, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but also welcome from my people. We'd love to have you, and hopefully over time, the more Moho users can understand what it is that you're missing from Flash, then maybe we can help each other, and we don't have to yell at each other on Reddit. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Big love. Any questions, just ask. Pop them in the comments below. I'm Danny Abram. I'm a very experienced Moho user. I've used it for 10 years. I've been animation director, build and rig supervisor. I've worked for Cartoon Saloon, A Productions, Aardman, Cloth Cat, all in Moho. I absolutely love it. I work for Moho now as well. That is my juicy big news, but my role and the project that I'm working on is unannounced yet, so that's coming soon. That's really cool. Share this if you have any Flash animators who are also panicking. Please share your work. Please come and join the Moho Discord. Please share it in there and have fun animating morphs. They are awesome. Bye.